Hi, I'm Ken Lustgarten, and today I want to share with you my favorite router jig. It's sitting right there on the bench. Don't you see it? That's because the best router jig is the one that you never have to build. I'm going to give you a look around. We moved in here about a year and a half ago, and I set up shop so that I could work. But this place is an organizational nightmare. I spend most of my time looking for a place to put tools down where they're not in my way, and I can't get anything done. It's very inefficient. The plan is to use this 6-foot wall and build a series of cabinets on the bottom with drawers and tool cubbies on the top. The cabinets will be 2 full height and 1 half height. The half height one will house the compressor underneath. And as you can see, there's some baseboard heating back there. That'll keep the compressor nice and warm in the wintertime. The plans call for a lot of dados to be made for both the drawer slides and for the slots that you put the dividers in for the cubbies. I'm going to show you how to do them just using the workbench and the series of holes that's in them. Ron makes 2 large jigs to accomplish this. I don't want to spend the time making those jigs. I don't want to waste the material. And most of all, I don't want to store those for future use. Today I'm going to start with the tool cubbies. The plans call for a 50mm spacing between the dados. The dog holes on this bench are 96mm apart. And the way we can do this is by splitting it in half and making a 48mm spacer. Board can be butted up against here and one dado made, and then the spacer removed, and the board butted here, and then the second one. Then you move the dog over a hole and repeat the process until all the dados are done. The first step is to set up some dogs on the bench to keep the board square with the table, and then to set up your additional dog as a stop. Next, we'll bring the guide rail down into position. You don't have to have a complicated setup like this. You can use a simple pair of large bench dogs to position your rail on the table. Next, we'll put the router into position. And I already have the bit lined up with the edge of the wood. So the next step is going to be to make the first groove. Move the stop over one, put the spacer in, slide the board up against, put the guide rail in position, and now we're ready to route the first dado. And that's the whole process. I won't bore you with doing all of the dados. I'll come back when I'm finished. Here's where you may say that I've run into a problem. I'm at the last dog hole on the bench, but I still have more dados to route. What I'm going to do is flip the board over and come at it from the other side. After flipping the board over and positioning it where I want to start, all I have to do is reline the router up with one of the dados, and I'm ready to continue making the rest. And here's the finished product. That's one of the sides, and the other one is over here. Now to make the dados for the drawers, I may use a 1/2 inch bit and make 2 passes to turn it into a 3/4 inch slot. And the way I'm going to do that is this slides. So I'll set one stop, and then I'll take this other stop and I'll leave about a 1/4 inch gap. Then I can make one pass with the router, slide it over, and come back. And that's how I can make an exact dado for a size that is different from the router bit that I am using. A lot can be done with just a few simple spacers. It's a 24 and a 48, a 32 and a 64. The hole spacing on the bench is 96 millimeters. So all of these work out and will add up to 96. You can do anything that adds up to 96 or is a multiple of 96. You can use this to accurately size panels, to do dados for bookcases, for cabinets. You can even use the spacers in the dog holes on the bench to do shelf pinholes. If you make a simple set of stops, it would go on the track. You can push the router towards one side and plunge a pinhole, bring the router to the other side and plunge the other pinhole, and then work your way down the board. I would highly advise that if you don't have a guide for your router, that you either purchase one or make one. By using the guided router and the dog holes on the board and a little creativity, you can avoid making a lot of jigs and avoid wasting a lot of time. Of course, this method won't work in a production environment, but in a home shop or in a portable shop where you do this stuff occasionally, it's a real time saver.